Hey guys, it's Cassandra from Beats to Live By. If you've been following us, it is March 20th of 2024, and tomorrow is our first day of business at our new location, our forever home for Beats to Live By. Um, if you haven't seen us around as much online, that is why, because we've been moving, we've been working on our new building, and it's been a very crazy time, and we so appreciate your patience with us. So first and foremost, thank you for that, because we would not be able to be here without your support and generous patience. I am going to go find this video. I say it like it's hiding from me. And share this in our Beads in Progress page, or group rather, on Facebook. So for those of you who are not aware, we have this really fun group called Beads in Progress, and you can find that on Facebook. It's just those three words as it sounds. And we just share lots of fun projects that we're working on, either with beads from Beads to Live By, or videos we've shared, or classes people have taken with us. So as long as there's some way that it ties back to our store, because that is kind of the point for us, is to be able to be in business and sell beads. You are welcome to share things in there, and you can join and just watch and see what we're up to too. That's totally fine. But I just shared the video link, so hopefully everybody will get a chance to watch. But it's officially 6 o'clock. We're officially supposed to be live. It's not quite done yet. I have to decide what to do around the edges. They look a little unfinished, but not end of the world. I found this awesome fabric at Joann's, and it's like this really low pile velvet that is just thick enough. There's a bit of cushion to it. And if you look, like, my beads are only rattling around a tiny bit. They're like keeping their piles pretty securely, but this is just a little plastic dinner plate from Target, of all places. And I was there getting some stuff just for like my home, and it wasn't even, I was getting like paper towels and things, not anything fun. And I walked past the dinner plates and this aisle where these were at, and thought, oh gosh. So it's like over 10 inches wide, which is a very respectable bead tray size. And our new space is very white and bright. And then we have some accent colors that include things like peach and terracotta. And it all just kind of hit me that it'd be a really fun way to do some custom shopping trays and work trays for us. So I'm testing it out tonight. Look at that. But we've got a couple people watching. So let's talk about the project. For those of you that are just tuning in and hadn't seen the preview, this is the little component. So we'll talk about the addition of the daggers, but we're focusing on how cute is that Ginko cluster. So I'm calling it a wheel. It's a very like wheel-like shape. And if you're watching after we're live, or if you noticed while you're watching right now, I did link the curated collections to this post, because that is where we do have some Ginko beads. We've got lots of 2-hole daggers if you decide to use those for an earring or a necklace pendant. And then the seed bead sets are available from 2024 in the different sizes that we list off here. So we've got 15s. Oh, make sure my phone doesn't time out here. 15s and size 8s in the main part of the wheel. And then I've got some accent 11s where I'm attaching things like for an ear wire at the top there, or where the daggers are attached. There's a couple of 11s down there too. So that is the gist of the supplies and what we're doing. And because I think these colors are going to show up a little bit better, this is the first sample I worked on. This sample is not the exact way I ended up doing the second design you just saw. And I think that design works a little bit better. It's a little more repetitive. So we're going to redo this one and work in these colors. But I'm going to turn the comments back on. I say back on. You guys can still comment the whole time, but that way I can see what you're saying. So this is, I think, the second time I've been live while all the lovely ladies are off on the bead cruise right now and trying hard not to be sad about not being with them because they're in some of my favorite places like St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. But looks like they're having a fabulous time. So happy for them. And it is quite weird to be reopening this week without Sheila. If, again, you've been around at all, you know that's my mama. Here, I should thread my needle under the camera. And she's a huge part of our business. She's around often. She's a huge inspiration, very talented designer. And she won't be back for a couple of days still. So, aw, thanks, Deb. Deb Floros from Deb Loves Jewelry is here. Go follow and like and subscribe. I'm like, what platform am I on? What are you supposed to do on YouTube? Go subscribe to Deb's YouTube channel, please. You can see her in the comments there right now. And she's fabulous. She does lots of fun things with our beads. She does lots of beautiful things in general. And you should definitely go check her out. So, hi, Deb. Thank you. I did try to spruce up a little bit just to be on camera tonight. Got to get back into the swing of not wearing sweats and busting my butt every day, hauling beads around and cleaning and doing things that hurt my body. No longer having to do things that hurt my body every day. I can start trying to look a little cute every once in a while. So this is kind of funny. I'm right across the street from my hairdresser. Our new location is right across from the salon that I go to. And I have felt like such a bum going in and out of my building, looking like I just rolled out of bed, essentially, because it's like you're not going to do your hair or makeup, really, if you're going to go and get gross and dirty and all that while you're cleaning and working. So looking forward to not being in that position anymore. So the supply list is there, guys. I have been working with a 10-pound thread up until this point, but there's some spots where it gets a little tight, and I think the 8-pound will be the better bet. So we're just going to switch back to, how about we give you the, so the link is in the comments for the area that you would find a lot of these products on our website. Then I'm going to leave up the little banner on the bottom that talks about the fact that that's where you can shop for them. And we're going to leave this sample, even though the colors are the way we're working with them, the sample itself is not quite right. So we're going to figure out here, what did Cassandra do? Seems like some of the beads still sit a little funny, but so I am going to start off by going through. So Ginkgos have a top and a bottom. And I'm going to go through coming towards the point. So I'm going in the rounded end. And right now it does not matter which hole I'm going through. And then we're going to string on 115, 1 size 8, and 115. Oh, seems like this fabric might be leaving a little bit of a space. All right, so there's the seed beads. And then this time I'm going to go through, so I'm going to go through the pointy end of the Ginko, and then I'm coming out of the rounded end. So you want them to, they're going to end up sitting next to each other like that. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take our, I've got about a yard of this thread, by the way. Sorry, I didn't remember to say that at the very beginning. So I'll let everybody catch up that's watching. Hit pause and do whatever you need to do. But this is how the beads will sit when you pull them together. So they're going to like touch noses, the ginkgos, and then you've got the seed beads in between the one set of holes. And we are going to take that tail end. We've got just a few inches, like 4 to 6 at the tail that we brought the beads down towards. And we're going to bring that, the 2 threads cross over, and then you bring the tail end through the loop because you're just tying a knot. That's all that very long explanation was explaining. So tail thread, cross over, and then come through the loop. And you see how you've got your knot that way. You just have to pull tightly. I'm totally doing this wrong. I need a bead there. See, guys, a little distracted. I knew this would be a weird night to try to do a video, but let's start over, shall we? That seems like the best thing. Okay. 1 yard of thread. We're working with an 8-pound. Again, this is a little bit newer for me as far as that size goes, but I think it's going to work better than the other size I was working with. 15, 8, and 15 seed bead. And then you're going to go through your next ginkgo from the pointy end towards so your needle's coming out of the rounded end. Deb, are you having fun yet? Oh my goodness. It's fun to watch other people kind of like struggle a little bit during live videos because we all do it, but then it reminds you that when somebody else is doing it, oh, it's not just me. And then before you tie your knot, you're going to string on a size 15. That was the part that I left out. And my apologies if you have been following along up to that point and then had to undo anything. Okay, so this is the way your beads look before you go to tie your knot. Those 15s are tiny, but they're bright compared to the other beads. And then you bring the 2 threads crossed over. We've got about 4 inches of thread that we're going to leave on the tail end. So that's the furthest point away from your needle on the thread. I don't double my thread all the way over if you're like super new and just getting into this. So from this point, we're going to we're going to take our needle actually and put it through that 15. So the knot is to this side of the bead, and I'm going this direction through the bead. From the side the knot is on, away from the knot. I always like to move away from my knots, whether it's the beginning or end of my project. It's just helpful. Okay, so we are going to string on 4 more 15s here, and we're going to go the ginkgo that we're facing. So our thread's coming out over here towards this ginkgo. We're going to go through the rounded side of the ginkgo and pull those beads through like so. Now the quantity that you add at that point might change a little bit depending on your brand of beads. So we'll talk about that once we figure out. I think we'll stick with the 4, but just in case, I want to prepare you. And then once you are coming out of the pointy end of the ginkgo, the little nose, oh, come here, there. Trying to show you where the thread's coming out, but it's trying to turn towards the dark side, literally, of my little area here. So 15, 8, 15, and then you're going to go through from the nose or pointy end of the ginkgo. I'm coming out with my needle of the rounded side of the ginkgo that's just been added. So right now, those beads are just hanging out like so. And continuously change my mind about how I want to go through these 15s that are here, but do you see how it came around from the back side sort of that 15? They want to sit like that anyway, so we're going to try this. And then we went through the Ginko as well. So when you come up, you're going to have this arrangement. So our goal is to end with 6 Ginkgos. So we already have 3 on. That's a good sign, right? For all the trouble. And then you're coming out of that middle Ginko right now, and we're going to go through, like, away from the ones we've been working with, through the 15, the 8, and the 15 seed beads. And I like to pull tight almost every single time we do something. And then let's see here. See how this 15 is going to act. All right. So I'm coming down through that newest Ginko that we added. And we're going to then, I think it's easier to second after you do that, go through the 15. So that's that connecting 15. And we'll call them the connecting 15s. They tend to not sit very neatly no matter what I do with them. So if they don't look perfect when you're done, don't be incredibly bothered by that. But I think this is going to work out nicely. So we've got 4 more 15s on our needle. So this is a repeat now. We're going to go up through the newest Ginko from the rounded side towards the pointy side. We've got this little arrangement here again. And then 115, 18, and 115. And then we're going to go through a new Ginko from the pointy side towards the rounded side there. And we're going to come up through the 15 and the Ginko that were already in the project, that were already stitched in. So then when everything gets pulled together, that's what we have. And we'll go through the 15, the 8, and the 15. And then we're going to go down through the Ginko, the newest one first, or towards the inside of the wheel. Oop. And grab our thread with our fingers. And then before you do anything else, remember to catch that. I think this last step is what I was missing in my previous versions, where if I go through this 15, sorry guys, there. So you come through that last 15 that you added on the inside, and you go from like the inner edge of the Ginkgos towards the inside of the ring. I think that's going to keep everything sitting more neatly than it has been. The thing I was complaining about that I didn't think we could fix, I think this is going to fix it. So let's see. I think we've got 2 more repeats of, we'll work through this a little bit faster this time. So I've got 4 of those 15s. Come up through our closest Ginko that's been added most recently. Add a 15, 8, 15. Go through a new Ginko that direction. And then we're going to add nothing else. We're going to go through, just testing you guys, the last 15 added and the last Ginko added in the project that's already stitched into place. And then when you pull that tight, you've got a little loop of beads there. And you're going to go through those 3 seed beads on the outer edge of the wheel. And then you're going to go through the Ginko. And you're going to go through the 15, the connecting 15, the corner 15. I feel like there's so many names you can use sometimes. And then add 4 more 15s. Go through the last hole of the newest Ginko. So we've got the 5, right? Yep, 2, 4, 5 Ginkgos right now. So we'll repeat this addition of the 3 seed beads from the outside with the 8 in it. Oh, come on, beads. And then we've got the last Ginko that we're going to add with those. And then we're going to go through all the beads like so. And then we'll go through those seed beads on the outside there. And the Ginko again, and that last 15 on the inside. So when you get ready to connect the edges of the wheel, this is the part that's going to be a little different than the repeats you've done so far, but it's not hard or really that different. It's just a little different, but it'll make sense once you do it. So you have 6 Ginkgos here. You do not need to add any more Ginkgos, but you do need to cross this bridge of empty space between the 2 at the very end. So this part's the same. We're going to add 4 more of the 15s, and we're going to go through. So this is, I just flipped my work over because this is a little easier for me to handle. So this is the Ginko I just added. I'm coming through that the way I would normally. And then I'm still going to add a 15, an 8, and a 15. But then no more Ginkgos. We have 6 already. I'm going to go from the last Ginko added to the first Ginko added. And I'm going to go into the hole that's at the end, like so, closest to where I'm at. And then once I get that connected, I'm going to come through the 15 and the Ginko from the last edition, not the first edition, in the wheel. And then once we pull that, we'll go back through these outer seed beads that we most recently added. And then we'll go through the Ginko, sorry. Oh, there we are again. And then we do want to go through, this part seems a little trickier. We're going to go through this 15 this direction. And we're going to just add 3 15s. That's the other change. No additional Ginko and only 3 15s, which are like the same color as my hands. So it's harder to see when I hold those up by themselves. And then I'm going to stick this needle through the beads I want to go through, which is a little tough because I got a knot in that area, but I just want to show you guys. So you see we came from over here, and this is the start, closer to the start edge. That's the first Ginko at the end of my nail there, and then we've got that area that we're working in. And whoop, goodness gracious. Okay. So when you pull all of that together. That's your last. So yeah, these sit, I like the way these are sitting on the inside of the ginkgos. And I've seen some of this type of idea done with the ginkgos sitting in the opposite direction. So like the noses or the points are on the inside. But I like the look we get from having the points on the outside because it gives kind of like a little ruffled pattern. Looks almost Moroccan to me. I don't know what else I'm kind of getting the vibe of, but this by itself is super cute. I could see hanging it from all sorts of things, using it as a component within bracelets and necklaces. And you could also make components like this bigger or smaller potentially too. So like more ginkgos or less ginkgos per component. You would have to think about changing the amount of 15s you're adding in the center, or maybe even the sizes of your beads at times, because the way these sit is directly related to the amount of beads that are being used here and the size and the amount of beads being used in here to create like the right angle for the beads to sit. And if that's way beyond where you're at right now, you could just ignore everything I'm saying. Oh, I'm looking at these little lines and marks I'm creating with my fingernails on this tray going, we'll see how long they last. I guess I can always put another layer of felt down on them, huh? Okay, so that is the component. Now that we've had that conversation, I'm going to show you how I add a loop for an earring or pendant at the top. We'll start there. So I think I've got, So coming out of a Ginko at the point side, I'm going to add 2 15s and then 4 11s. So this is the first time you're using the 11s. And then 2 15s again. And we're going to go from the hole of that Ginko that we're coming out of on one side of it, we're going to go down the other hole. Like so. And you can reinforce that, which just means going through any beads that are nearby in order that you previously added them. So like this reinforcing idea is to give extra strength to the thing you just added, but the goal is to always utilize the thread paths that you've previously used so that you don't have any thread popping out in weird places and showing. So I just went through all of the beads surrounding that Ginko, including the ones at the top now. And it looks like a small space, but it's just enough space for a thinner jump ring or an ear wire. If you need to add more beads for your project, you can definitely do that. You can use different sizes or quantities. That just happens to be what I ended up with in my most recent one. And then I'll show you guys my trick for getting around the middle. Because of the way the beads sit already, instead of going up and around the ginkgos over and over again to get to the bottom edge of this now earring for me, I'm going to go through just the 3 15s that sit along the rounded part of your Ginko. We're just going to go through those and get to where I hear little doggies playing in the living room, which is right outside of my office. We are dog sitting for a very cute little like 4-pound min pin. And she's adorable. Might have gone too far. What do I do here? Oh, nope, I've got it right. Okay, so this is very similar, just a little bit more to it. as far as the way we add these daggers. And I just realized that I didn't put any daggers on my tray yet. Not any new ones anyways. So I'm using 3 daggers on each component. And take a sip of to get my voice activated back to being able to talk all day to my customers in person and on my videos every week and classes. It's been a crazy couple of months. Feels like it's been 6 months of working towards this at least. But so coming out of that point again on the Ginko on one side, point end, we're going to add a 15 and then an 11. And then these are two hole daggers. I believe that is talked about in the description of the supply list. And we're going to go through the top holes of these first 2. And then we're going to add an 11 and a 15. So you've got a total of 6 beads on your thread right now. And then when you go back through your Ginko, this is the same Ginko we came out of. We're going through the other hole, just the opposite direction we started at. And then this is your arrangement of those beads that you just added. And it's going to just pop up to the top there. So you see how when you add those 2 daggers next to each other in a loop sort of arrangement, you get a natural curve that creates a space right where those second holes fall. It's like magic. So we're going to go all the way through the 15s along the rounded part of the Ginko. And this is where, if you're using something bigger than an 8-pound thread, it is doable, but you start to feel like resistance. And it makes me nervous with the 15s because I feel like, you're in a position to pop those a little bit. So this is not a spot where we're reinforcing what we just did. We're actually going to add to it, but it kind of reinforces it at the same time. So coming out of the spot in your Ginko where you started when you were adding the dagger layer, you're going to go through those first 2 seed beads you added at the bottom of what would be my earring now. Now we're going to go through the 2 daggers at the top holes again, because this is going to give us a clean addition of the last dagger. So I'm coming out of the edge of the second dagger. I've got 2 15s on, and then we're going to loop back and go through the second hole of that dagger. So we're facing the interior of the 2 daggers. And then we're going to go through the top hole of this dagger so it sits right. And we're going to string that through and go through the second bottom hole of the first dagger. And then to mimic what we did at the top, we'll do 2 more 15s and we'll go through the top holes of those daggers. We might have to go through them one at a time. So the first 2 daggers added, we're going to go through the top holes one at a time. And that completes a very cute little earring or pendant. And this is not a huge earring. I think the Ginko wheel by itself would be good for someone who's not into a large earring. But I think this would make an adorable part of a necklace or a pendant on a very simple necklace for somebody who is looking for something more subtle. And then when you are all done with your work, you just work your way back up into your component. And this part is more arbitrary, but we'll give you some solid instructions just to keep it very specific. And we're going to do this with both of our threads. Your tail thread is knotted in the spot that it's in, so that's not as crucial. But I am weaving through until I get to the outer point of another ginkgo so that you guys can see this more easily. So we're going to go under the thread between I'm coming out of a ginkgo and I'm next to a 15. So the threads that are inside the beads already, we stuck our needle under that. And then as you pull that through, you create a loop and you're going to go through that loop. We do that twice to create a really secure knot. So needle under the threads between the beads that you're coming out of and facing. That creates a loop as you pull, and then you're going to go through that loop and create a knot. For the second time, once you do that, you can go through a few more beads. And then once you pull all that nice and taut, you can give that a good clean trim. I go through a couple beads to protect my thread so that when I trim it, I don't catch that knot that I made already. And I'm feeling lazy and I think it's secure, so I'm going to trim that other thread. And other than some interior changes to those components, these actually turned out pretty darn similar in a lot of ways. Oh, I didn't do the top the same way. I don't know. We'll see. I might throw them together and do them as like a free pair of earrings for somebody or something. Or I could just do the second one the same way I did the last one that we just completed. Also, very important information. We have these beads in the sets from 2024 for all 3 months right now. So this is the most recent month. These are the March colors. And then these are the February colors. We have really pretty January colors that would be cute too. If you don't know about the subscriptions, the Curated Collections offers 2 different subscription options and then lots of other coordinating bundles, beads that go with the subscriptions each month, other coordinating bundles that are just seasonal or, fun together. And the whole point of this collection is so that you don't have to make choices about your colors and the types of beads you're using for a project. They're all in like one area. So it's not like a full kit, but they're sets that coordinate in ways that are useful for you. So you can subscribe to those. Maybe not at this moment because I need to restock the subscription quantities for the upcoming months. But if you're interested, or if you have more questions, you can definitely shoot me a message too. So those are the completed pieces from the tutorial today. Leave your wheels the way that they are before the daggers get added, and you'll have fun components to include in other types of jewelry, or let your imagination run wild and make them bigger or smaller to create a more completed set as well. I really appreciate you guys joining me today, and wish me luck tomorrow. I'm a little nervous. It's funny because it's not like it's different really than any other workday I've had for the last over 11 years, but still feels a little different. Got a few more things to put away and that kind of stuff. So I think I'm a little like jittery just because of that, but I really do appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys for fun new projects over the next coming weeks. I've got one little ditty I can show you just real quick here. I'm working on a fun and easy chain stitch that is a play off of like an underbelly herringbone design and includes some little clusters so that it's very like springy and floral looking. So that is what I'm hoping to share with you guys maybe next week, but maybe I'll come up with other fun things in between now and then. So stay tuned. Thanks so much, Deb. I really appreciate you being here. Again, guys, make sure and go click on Deb Floros, Deb Loves Jewelry. Her link would be through her comments here, and go check out and subscribe to her YouTube channel. And also make sure and check out her Etsy store. She's got lots of fun finished things for sale on there too. But Well, see you guys soon. And I had a blast. I hope you guys enjoy your projects.